With nuclear submarines lurking off European shores, missile curbs tossed away in a way, and new nuclear bombs appearing on British soil, the world stands on a precipice. As Washington and Moscow trade threats and amid rapid deployments, the last restraints seem to have snapped. Our next report taking a closer look at how the United States and Russia are now edging into the most dangerous territory seen since the darkest Cold War nights.
The world is entering a dangerous zone. Nuclear submarines are shifting into threat zones and missile ceilings shatter, strategic stability cracks wide open. It began below the waves. President Trump ordered nuclear submarines moved into striking distance following former Russian President Medvedev's nuclear taunts. 2 American submarines moved swiftly in a calculated message to Moscow. Above sea and sky, Russia tore up its unilateral moratorium, announcing it will deploy short and intermediate-range nuclear-capable missiles anywhere it chooses. Moscow says the treaty is long defunct and pointed to similar moves by the West. The US would be new long-range missiles in Germany starting 2026, prompting the Kremlin's ire. Now, for the first time since 2008, American nuclear weapons have landed on UK soil. According to reports, B-61 nuclear bombs have been deployed at RAF Lakenheath atop new F-35A jets. The timing could not be more ominous. As tensions reach fever pitch, Trump's latest statement reveals the gravity of the situation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do you still plan to follow through on your threat to impose 100% tariffs on all countries that purchase Russian energy, including China?
Well, I never said a percentage, but we'll be doing quite a bit of that. We'll see what happens over the next fairly short period of time. But we'll see what happens. Yep, we have a meeting with Russia tomorrow. We're going to see what happens. We'll make that determination at that time.
Russia and the US are the world's biggest nuclear powers, holding about 88% of the world's nuclear weapons. They both hold the biggest militaries also. Any confrontation between these 2 superpowers would have devastating consequences. We are one miscalculation, one intercepted communication, one technical malfunction away from witnessing the ultimate failure of human civilization. Bureau Report, WION World is one.
The space race has taken a nuclear turn. Superpowers are preparing to plant reactors rather than flags on lunar soil. The US now fast-tracking plans to build atomic infrastructure on the moon by 2030. But the US will not be alone on the lunar surface. In fact, Russia and China are racing ahead with their own nuclear ambitions for 2035. The question is no longer over who will reach the moon first, but who will claim it with nuclear power.
The moon is about to become humanity's first nuclear colony. 3 nuclear superpowers have declared their intent to transform Earth's celestial neighbor into an atomic-powered outpost. This is not science fiction. This is a new reality of cosmic competition. According to reports, NASA Administrator Sean Duffy has issued an urgent directive to accelerate construction of a 100-kilowatt nuclear reactor on the lunar surface, superseding previous plans for a less powerful 40-kilowatt system. But the US is not alone in this cosmic power grab. Russia and China have already signed a deal to construct their own nuclear power plant on the moon, targeting completion by 2035 as part of their jointly developed International Lunar Research Station.
3, 2, 1. Boosters in. And liftoff of Artemis 1.
The lunar night, which can last for 2 weeks, makes solar power an unreliable option for a permanent human settlement. A nuclear reactor, however, would provide a continuous high-output energy source, enabling habitants, mining equipment and scientific laboratories to operate around the clock. Clearly emerging as a three-way nuclear race played out against the stark backdrop of space, where the stakes are nothing less than dominance over humanity's future in the cosmos. The US fears that if China and Russia make it to the moon before it does, they could barricade a part of the moon, declaring it a keep-out zone, basically pushing it out of the area. This race is no longer about science, it is about who will write the first laws, carve up territories and dictate access to trillions of dollars worth of lunar minerals. One side's triumph could lock out the rest for decades to come. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
In India's Uttarakhand, the death toll has risen to 5. Scores of people reported missing after the cloudburst triggered flash floods in Uttarakand's Dharali area. In fact, rescue and relief efforts are ongoing, led by the Indian Army, the Indo-Tibetan Border Police, National Disaster Response Force and the State Disaster Response Force. Access routes to and from Uttarakhand remain cut off due to heavy rainfall and flash floods following the cloudburst. Despite the rough terrain posing a significant challenge in the rescue efforts, Army tracker dogs, drones and earth-moving equipment have been deployed for evacuation and providing essential supplies since Tuesday. The Indian Army has kept its Mi-17 and Chinook helicopters on standby to look for the stranded. According to government officials, at least 190 people have been rescued so far. Indian Air Force Chinook, Mi-17, V-5, ALH and Cheetah helicopters are on active standby at the Chandigarh Air Base, ready to deploy with equipment and relief material as soon as the weather conditions improve. The Weather Department has issued warnings for heavy rainfall across the state, especially in the hilly areas. A delegation of parliamentarians from Uttarakhand met Prime Minister Modi to brief him on the rescue and relief operations. The Chief Minister also carried out an aerial survey to assess the flood-hit areas in the district. In fact, the Uttarakhand Chief Minister has said that the Prime Minister as well as the Home Minister have assured all possible support from the central government. 2 cloudbursts, one in Dharali and another in the Sukhi Top area, caused widespread destruction, with Dharali bearing the brunt. In fact, according to the officials, the market area in Dharali was completely swept away due to the rising water levels. A mudslide in the Kheergarh area also triggered a sudden flow of debris and water through the settlement. It's one of the fashion world's oldest and most dangerous obsessions in a way. Are they glorifying thinness at the cost of health? That's been a raging debate. And this time, the focus and the questions are aimed at Zara. The global fashion giant has just had two of its ads banned for featuring what regulators called unhealthily thin models. The latest incident in which the fashion industry's aesthetic ideals are coming under growing question marks, not just for what they showcase, but for what they silently promote, perhaps. The UK has banned two Zara ads. UK's Advertising Standards Authority, or ASA, ruled that both campaigns were what they termed socially irresponsible because the models, according to them, looked unhealthily thin, with protruding collarbones and limbs made to appear unnaturally slim through poses, shadows and styling choices, according to them. In one ad, the slick back hairstyle and lighting cast deep shadows across the model's face. And according to them, in another, the cut of a shirt and the model's pose drew attention to what they called protruding collarbones. And the ASA noted how the model's elbow joints and thin limbs looked what they called out of proportion. And in both cases, the concern was not just how the models looked, it was also how the images were styled to emphasize their thinness, according to them. And Zara responded saying the models were medically certified to be in good health and that the images were only lightly edited for lighting and color. But this entire row is not an isolated one. In fact, in July, the ASA banned a Marks & Spencer ad for a similar reason. It showed a model, allegedly, whose pose and styling made her appear unhealthily thin. Earlier this year, in fact, Next had an ad pulled for its use of camera angles that exaggerated, allegedly, the thinness of a model's legs. Next defended its choice, saying the model was slim but healthy and toned. But the UK regulator's message is clear. If fashion images and brands only promote one type of body, they promote harmful body ideals. And for ASA, that crosses a crucial line. And now with the UK regulator drawing a hard line, maybe it's time for everyone to reevaluate what is it that we actually define as aesthetically pleasing.